What's good, guys? It's your boy Ryu9535. Changed up the name of the channel, so I am now Ryu9535 because that's my Discord name, and I've been playing, a lot of remote duels past couple months, and so, better marketing tactic, I guess. But anyways, I got a really dope deck going on here right before Lightning Overdrive drops. Because I will be playing Drytron probably once the new the new set comes out, because Diviner is looking like a pretty spicy card, and Mu Beta basically replaces Union Carrier, so very nice, very nice. I'm really excited for that. But the deck, I decided to be kind of start playing again, and I used to be a huge fan of trap decks, control decks actually. Altergeist was the first deck that I ever really topped with, and so I was really looking for a good control deck to play, and I ended up picking up Orcust, Eldlich. So I have all the Eldlich cards. They actually came in the mail the other day, and I brought it to a tournament last night, and I ended up coming second. I went 3-1, only lost to the guy that went 4-0 in the finals. So it was a really solid tournament. It was fun. But I do highly recommend anyone out there that enjoys obviously playing with the real cards and stuff like that. Give remote duels a try. Play it for fun. It really is a good time, and it is awesome to use your real cards. But yeah, let's get into the deck list here. So I start off with, of course, 3 Girsu, the Orcust Mech Knight. This card is insane. Definitely the best card in your deck. Best normal summon, best special summon. This card is insane. Basically, when it's normal summoned, it's gonna dump a World Legacy or Orcust monster from your deck to the grave, which basically lets you combo off into Galatea, and lets you set a Orcust Crescendo, which I'll show you guys later. But it gives you that nice little combo potential to end in basically a Solemn Judgment that banishes. And also, it can, if you already open the Crescendo, it also is like a +2 because it lets you draw 2 off of return with the Galatea. So it's pretty disgusting. This card is the bread and butter of the deck. You need, if you open this card or you pot of Prosperity into this card, you're laughing. You're really happy. So then for the other Orcust monsters, I play one of each of Nightmare, Symbol Skeleton, World 1, and Brass Bomber. So a lot of people play 2 Nightmare over the Brass Bomber. I do like the Brass Bomber though, because if Girsu gets bounced to your hand with that new forget its name, the warrior out of the Tri-Brigade monsters, it can send a card from your hand, the Ancient Warrior monster. Anyway, it bounces Girsu, so if you normal summon Girsu and activate effect, and you dump Brass Bombered, if your Girsu gets bounced to hand, you actually get to banish the Brass Bombered, special summon the Girsu, summon the token off Girsu effect, and then you still get to make your Galatea. So that's nice. And then also, if you open the Nightmare, you can Girsu dump Brass Bombered, special out the Nightmare, and then you actually get into a +1 with it, which is nice. So highly recommend this layout here. Symbol Skeletons, your follow-up, and World Legacy, World Wand is the worst card to open. This card's the worst. Orcust Nightmare and World Wand, you are basically bricks, but World Wand's hella brick because you can't special it off of Brass Bombered. So that card is probably the weakest in the lineup, but you do need it. So that is the Orcust monster lineup. However, the main card that you're playing the Orcust stuff for is 3 Crescendo. Now, this card is bananas. When a spell trap or monster effect is activated, while you control an Orcust Link monster, so your Galatea, you can activate it, negate, and then banish the card. So it's even better than a Solemn Judgment or Solemn Strike. And it's not only that, its second effect is you can banish it from the graveyard and add Girsu, basically. You banish and you add Girsu. And so that effect, you are locked into Dark Machines, but that's okay if you're, you're playing a control deck anyways, so you ending on a Galatea is what you would have done anyways. So getting this card in the graveyard turn 1 lets you search for Girsu, which is really nice. And then also it can kind of work with your Eldlich cards in the sense that during the end phase they'll banish. You can banish Crescendo for +3 off of the cards in your graveyard. Yeah, this card is just insane. This is the reason that you're playing the Orcust stuff at all. This and Girsu go hand in hand. And then, of course, you play the Orchestrated, one Orchestrated Return. Now, this kind of clashes with the Pot of Prosperity in the deck. However, this card is so good because with Girsu normal summon, when you already have a Crescendo in hand, you basically becomes a Pot of Greed because you'll special summon the token off of Girsu, and then link the Girsu and that off into the Galatea, shuffle back to set the Orchestrated Return, and then you get to special off of the World Legacy Wand with the Nightmare, and then send the Nightmare, draw 2, so it becomes like +2 or 3. It's absolutely bananas. But yeah, this is the Orcust lineup. It's pretty solid. I think it's 11 cards, so pretty good. You do need 3 Girsu, that is definitely mandatory, and then you do need at least 1 Nightmare, at least 1 Sybil Skeleton, and at least 1 World Legacy Wand. So these 3, you could cut the Brass Bomber, but it makes your Orcust Nightmare like very much a brick. And at least this card you can normal summon and link off for Link Karibo, right? So yep, those are the orchestrated the Orcust cards. Next up, of course, it is an Orcust Eldlich deck, so you're gonna need your 2 Eldlich the Golden Lord. This card is crazy. You get to discard to send something. It does target, which is unfortunate, but you know, still great. And then it's sending from the field to the graveyard a spell or trap to special summon this card is really good. But what makes it excellent is you can send Orcust Crescendo to the graveyard with its effect, and then you get to banish Orcust Crescendo to search your Girsu out. So it becomes like, it allows you to access Girsu sometimes, which is like crazy. And then, of course, with your Eldlich, you're playing your Cursed Eldlands. These search out your Eldliches or your Golden Lands. Very good card, becomes like +1. And then you can continuously give yourself advantage. Just remember that you cannot declare an attack except with zombie monsters. And that is one big thing with this deck. The thing that makes it complicated is they do play well together, the Eldlich and the Orcust cards, in controlling fashion. But you do have to remember that the Orcust cards lock you into dark monsters. Eldlich is a light, so you need to special summon Eldlich first. And then also Crescendo, you can't even activate any of your Conquistador or Hequeros, because you can only special summon Dark Machines the turn you activate it. So keep that in mind. Sometimes those won't play nice together, but if you're playing the control long game, it's okay if wait until your turn to activate Crescendo, or wait until the next turn to activate a specific Eldland or something like that, right? A specific card. With your Cursed Eldlands, you will play your 3 Scarlet Sanguine, your 3 Conquistador, your 3 Hequero. These are pretty standard. You could maybe cut like a Hequero, but honestly, I don't think cutting any of this is really a good call. I think all of this is pretty mandatory. You could maybe cut like an Eldlich, but I would stick with this this setup, this lineup here. It's nice. And then you're gonna have 2 Foolish Burial Goods. This card is insane because it accesses both your Eldlich cards and also your Orcust cards. You can send Crescendo. This card basically becomes Girsu. It becomes add Girsu to hand. And then it also can become set Elixir or Conquistador. I was thinking about playing 3 of this card. This card is really, really good. But, obviously you can only activate 1 per turn. So you don't want to, brick up in your hands. So 2 is the perfect number. And to go along with it, you have 2 Prosperity as well. This card, you will pretty much always banish 6 in order to search for any of your cards that you're missing. Mostly, you will be searching for Girsu. Searching for Girsu is so nice. However, sometimes you will, pick up a Conquistador, or you'll pick up an Elixir, right? It just gives you the options, right? And so now we're getting to kind of more the, obviously going first cards, but more like defensive cards. And so to go with that, 2 Cosmic Cyclones. This card is insane. This card is so good right now. You activate it during the standby phase, banish your opponent's, Schism. You can banish a lot of cards. It's nice having spell and trap removal in the main deck, and this card just becomes so versatile. You can even play it against some combo decks just because it's good to against Drytrons, you can banish their Meteonis Drytron, and all of a sudden they're gonna have troubles ritual summoning for the game. You know what I mean? This card just is super flexible and is very important in the deck. This card though could easily be Dinomischus, or this card could easily be Droll and Lockbird. This card is like the kind of big flex spot in the deck. I'm just picking Cosmic Cyclone at the moment. 3 Solemn Strike. This card is bananas. You're playing a trap deck. I think this card's pretty mandatory in a trap deck. It just stops any special summon or monster effect, and because it's the counter trap, just says no, right? And it works so well in tandem with Orcust Crescendo. It just basically says no to 2 of your opponent's cards, and then you'll have that follow up for next turn. So if you just stop the important stuff, you're laughing. I do play 1 Imperial Order. Now, this card is sometimes a problem in the deck. It's rarely a problem, because you do play the Eldlich, the Golden Lord. So anytime you really need to activate spell cards, you can send this card to the graveyard, and you are always going first. So you're never gonna any of your spell activations are on turn 1. You know, Prosperity. It does kind of play against the Cosmic Cyclones. But, this card is just so insane at a 1-of, and it's just such a broken card that I think it's worth main decking. You could easily side deck this and side it in going, when you know you're going to go first, and you can side out some of your spells. However, I do think that if you use your spells beforehand, and if you activate this against a deck that, relies on their spells, even against Dragon Link, it hurts a lot, right? So I think this card's really, really busted. 2 Droplet. This card is really crazy. I would probably play 3 if I have a third. I only have 2 at the moment. This card just allows you to send any of your Orcust cards to the graveyard for their effects. You can send any of the Eldlich Spell or Trap cards to the grave, Crescendo to the grave, any of like the dead Orcust cards that you draw, any of the bricky ones you can send to the grave. So this card is just really nice. And then also, because a lot of decks, they play like trap cards. This card, you play trap cards, so you can obviously send like your trap cards to the graveyard, and then they can't respond with trap cards, which is really nice. It's a quick play spell card, so you can set it on your turn, and then it really it helps interrupt your opponent. It kind of acts as like a second or like another trap card interruption, right? Especially if you're sending any of the like Eldlich cards or something like that. It just doesn't really become a -1, which is why it's so nice in this deck. And then last but not least, 3 Ash Blossom. Probably the best generic hand trap at the moment. This could easily be like Droll and Lockbird. This could easily be like, if you really want to play Nib, you can. I just like Ash Blossom. I think Ash Blossom's nice, and it never feels bad to drop an Ash Blossom on your opponent. So the deck is 40 cards in the main deck, so yeah. We'll go to the extra deck. Of course, you got your World Legacy token. You got Link Karibo. Link Karibo is very mandatory to link off the Link token, or the World Legacy token. Gives you an effect monster to link off into Galatea. It lets you tribute like your Brass Bomber. Gets rid of the dinosaur tokens. This card's just very nice. Very similar use is Link Spider. It also gets rid of like a normal monster. This one's more for the Eldlich cards. You get to send, link off like a Haquero or something like that. Search an Elixir at the end. Add this card. Just keeps your engine cycling, right? The best card in the extra deck, 3 Galatea. This card is mandatory to run at 3. This card is insane. Shuffle a machine monster from your banished pile into the deck, set an Orcust Spell or Trap, set a Crescendo. You basically have an Omni Negate, and the effect of being linked and not being destroyed by battle while it's linked is very important. I'll put it in this the top left column a lot. People will inherently summon in the middle just because, naturally just play in the middle, and they'll forget about the effect that it can't be destroyed by battle, and it gets them often. Barricade Board Blocker. This card's the card in the extra deck that gets rid of any of your dead Orcust cards, gets rid of your Nightmares, gets rid of, anything that's really kind of bothering you in your hand. It gets rid of some of the Eldlich cards, so very nice card, definitely worth the spot, and it's also a dark machine, so Crescendo doesn't lock you into it. IP, it's a dark, so you can still play it. You honestly never really go into IP that often. Same with the Nightmares, just like generic cards that you can, link off into. Probably Unicorn's the one you go into the most, just so that you have like a good one for access code, a link 3 for access code, and lets you pitch. It's just nice. And it's also a dark, so Longirsu is a good card. If you're locked in Crescendo, you can link off into this card. I don't know. This card's all right. I could totally see you cutting this card, though, into something else, but sometimes this card comes up. Axis Code Talker, pretty insane card in general, but you actually don't bring it out too often in this deck. Like, really, this deck's a control deck, so you're just going to grind out your opponent. 2, Dingirsu. This card could also be 3, honestly. You could definitely cut something to make a 3rd of Dingirsu, but this card is bananas. Overlay it right on top of Galatea, send a card non-targeting from your opponent's field to the graveyard, or you can attach a banished machine. So sometimes this adds like an extra like Zeus, an extra card for Zeus, which is the last card you play in the extra deck. Yeah, this card is just nice to send your opponents to the grave. It's a nice follow-up card because you'll usually have Galatea on the field. It'll usually survive your opponent's turn, so you can usually make big plays with Dingir. So usually this is like the first thing I do in main phase, just to like send opponent's card. And then Zeus, it's not a dark, so be careful about that. You're honestly not going to bring this card out too much, so it's a decent prosperity banish. Yeah, it's still good though. You know, if you run into like a big back row deck, you can go Galatea, overlay into Dingirsu, attack directly, overlay into Zeus, activate Zeus effect. So it's not terrible, but definitely not like the craziest card in this deck. Really, you go into Dingirsu and Galatea the most. My side deck, I'll just run it down. I mean, my Nibiru and my tokens. Nibiru, 3 Nibiru is pretty good. This is for like Prank Kids, Dragon Link, any other combo decks that maybe come up. I don't know. Infernoble, I guess. I don't know. This card's good though. It's nice to have it in tandem with my Nibiru. 3 Phantasme lets you kind of go into your draw into your Nibirus, draw into your droplets. This card is really nice against Dragon Link. It's nice against Drytron. It's nice against a lot of decks. So this card is definitely one worth having. 2 of like the flex spots in my extra deck right now are 2 Ghost Bell. Right now I'm just playing this for Tri Brigade, for the Tri Brigade Revolt. I freaking hate that card. The card's insane. But it does stop that, and it stops like a lot of like niche things that like people forget about a lot. So definitely a flex spot. And then another flex spot is the 3rd Cosmic Cyclone. This could easily be main decked over like the Imperial Order, or it could be taken out completely, all 3 of these, for like Drone Lock Birds. There are a few options, but yeah, Harpy's Feather Duster, pretty decent card to, I mean, it's a really good card to just blow away your opponent, but yeah, I very much like it. 3 Judgment. Judgment is crazy because you're going first deck, so this card basically, you know, it's paired with Crescendo or Solemn Strike. This card just, it wins you games. And then 2 Mistake. This card is the spice of the side deck. Neither players can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them. You can send it to the grave with Eldlich, so you don't even need to worry, but often you don't even add from deck to hand. You'll side out like your prosperities for this card and stuff. And so you can set this card. They'll activate like Tenki, or they'll activate like, you know, Chaos Space or something like that. You flip this card, and they just went like -2. It's way better than Drone Lockbird, but like, you know, yeah. So that is the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It is very fun. If you have any just like a bunch of trap cards, I would definitely just try it out. If you have the Girsus, give it a whirl. Girsu is a crazy card, and honestly one of my favorite cards I've ever played. Yeah, if you have any ideas on future content, let me know down below. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys are able to rip some remote duels. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys later. So we're just going to go into a quick test hand. I'll just show you what damage this deck can do. The riffles, cut it in half, burn the top 6 cards from top to bottom. There's a card there, whatever. Top 5. Okay, so let's see what we got. Ash. Alrighty. So this hand's all right. This hand's like an average hand. We'll see what we do. So we're gonna normal summon the Girsu, activate the effect of Girsu. Dump a. We'll dump a simple skeleton actually here. We will activate the effect of Girsu, give us and our opponent a token. Then we will link off that token into a Link Rebo. We'll then link these two off into a Galatea. Activate, actually we'll just overlay directly into a Dingirsu, and then send one of their cards. We're just going to send the token, actually. Then we're going to activate Symbol Skeleton. We'll banish to bring out the Girsu from our graveyard. Link off these two for a Galatea. Galatea effect's going to shuffle back the symbol. We're going to set Orchestrated Return. Now, if you didn't have Crescendo, you would just set Crescendo, but luckily we do have a Crescendo in hand, so we're just going to set that return. We're going to activate the Orchestrated Return, send the World Legacy one, draw 2 more cards. Another Ash in the best. Cursed Eldland, not terrible. We will activate the Cursed Eldland, pay 800, add maybe a Conquistador to hand. Probably just set 1, 2, 3, and then pass. And so we got 1 Omni Negate Banish, 1 of the send to, send to negate, and we could probably send the Cursed Eldland in order to send like for an Elixir, and then we got the Conquistador, and then we got 2 Ash. This could be like, any other card, honestly. Like, even a Cosmic Cyclone. We drew the Cosmic Cyclone instead, set for 5 back row. Just gives you a lot of back row and defense with your Galatea. Like, also, if you have the Conquistador set, technically, if they go into battle and they attack, you can Conquistador into the link, and then they won't be able to destroy the Galatea anymore by battle. So yeah, that's just a little bit about what this deck can do. Obviously, Girsu is very nice. And yeah, guys, take it easy, okay? Read outside the lines, baby. Hang loose.